Thank you for joining my weekly video address. This week has been a difficult week for this county, a week of terrible tragedies. For the first time ever, a student was shot inside an MCPS high school, shocking and saddening for all of us. The victim is in critical conditions, and our thoughts are with him, his family, and the entire Magruder community. But this has clearly had deeper effects beyond Magruder, and I know that everybody in this county is shaken by what's happened. Also this week, a Wheaton Volunteer Fire Department lost one of their own in a horrific fire and collapse of a vacant house in Baltimore earlier this week. Baltimore City firefighter and paramedic Kenny Lacayo was also a longtime volunteer in the Wheaton Volunteer Rescue Squad and a graduate of Wheaton High School. This deadly tragedy is a reminder of the danger our firefighters face every day on the job and the sacrifice they are willing to make for our safety. And we continue to follow developments in the homicide of a 17-year-old Northwest high school student who went missing earlier this month and was found dead in a wooded area in Germantown. My thoughts go out to the families and friends of this victim. As a former teacher, my heart breaks for the entire MCPS community. This has been a harrowing week, but we've been working with both Dr. McKnight and Chief Jones since the event occurred to evaluate and implement strategies that they believe will ensure that our students, staff, and parents feel safe and secure. I immediately agreed with Dr. McKnight's request to bring our community engagement officers into high school buildings throughout the county this week. They will work on a long-term adjustment if they feel it's necessary. During the response to the incident in Magruder, there were many heroic acts and incredible leadership that created a calm response. I'm thankful to Principal Dr. Leroy Evans and his administration, teachers, staff, and students who all worked seamlessly together to get through a very long lockdown. I'm especially grateful to Magruder's health nurse and HHS employee, Megan Wilson, for her life-saving actions that directly helped save the injured student. As for our COVID rates this week, we've seen a 51% decrease in the number of cases since last week. This is good news, and it's helping ease the strain in our hospitals. Although these are dramatic decreases from our recent peak, it is important to note that our case rate numbers are still at the highest level they've been during the entire pandemic. We can't celebrate just yet, and we must pivot our focus to what's next. Omicron, as you know, popped out of nowhere. And today's news is that health officials are evaluating a new variant and working to assess how much of a new threat it might be. The World Health Organization reported this week that the new COVID variant may be more contagious than Omicron and warned against assuming that this virus will just continue to mutate into milder strains. So we're going to have to pay attention to what's happening and continue to be vigilant and make decisions that are necessary to keep ourselves safe. Sadly, more people in the state of Maryland have died from COVID this month than any other month of the pandemic. In Montgomery County, we've had over 120 deaths from COVID this month, more than the previous 4 months combined. However, we're only counting for 8.4% of the state's COVID deaths, despite being 17% of the state's population. This is a credit to our high vaccination rate, but I remain concerned that only about 50% of the eligible population has received boosters. I appreciate the work of HHS and emergency management this week to put out text alert reminders for people to get their booster shots. The booster is easier to get, and it's so important. If you know anyone that needs a booster or even their first shot of the vaccination, please visit govaxmoco.com. There is now a more available and easier access to COVID testing. Just this week, we heard good news for both our nation's COVID response and our local economy. Rockville's own Maxim Biomedical received emergency use authorization from the FDA administration for their new ClearDetect COVID-19 antigen home test. And our rapid take-home test distributions have been very, very successful. Last Friday, I went up to the White Oak Library and handed out tests. It was a very cold day, and some people were waiting out in the cold for well over an hour before the distribution began. But despite the wait and the cold, these residents were very patient and grateful. And the distribution system of our library employees and our volunteers was seamless and moved the line very quickly. So far, we've given out nearly 800,000 tests and have 196,000 more allocated. This includes over 450,000 tests given out over the last 2 weeks at our libraries and nearly 300,000 tests that were provided to our schools. We are also working to make sure these rapid tests are getting to the homebound childcare providers and private schools as well. We continue to encourage everyone to continue using our portal to upload your results. It's important, whether you're negative or positive, that you report so we can get a true assessment of the presence of COVID in our community. It is tax season, and this Friday, January 28th, is Earned Income Tax Credit Awareness Day. The Earned Income Tax Credit, the EITC, is one of our nation's most robust and best funded anti-poverty programs. Families earning up to $57,000 may be eligible, depending on family size, for this credit. The state also has an EITC, and I'm very proud that Montgomery County is the only county in Maryland that offers a local credit that is 100% matched to the state program. This tax credit helps low and moderate income families and workers get a tax break. Claiming the credit can reduce the taxes you owe and may give you a larger refund. The maximum federal tax credit is $6,728, and that is a significant saving for families most in need of financial support. I want to make sure that all our residents who qualify take advantage of this program. For more information on this tax credit and other tax credits, please visit montgomerycountymd.gov/cashback. If you do not qualify for this credit, please help us out and pass along this information to anyone you know who can benefit from it. This weekend, I will be joining the Montgomery County Commission for Women for their 42nd annual Women's Legislative Briefing that will be held virtually on Sunday, January 30th from 12:30 to 5. This year's theme is Voting Women Change Everything, and I couldn't agree more. This year, there will be 2 additional seats on the County Council, as well as changes in district lines for the Council and the General Assembly. It is important for people to learn about their issues, their choices for elected leaders, and I'm pleased that the Commission for Women's Briefings will help educate and energize voters as we head into elections. This event brings together advocates, allies, policymakers, and emerging leaders to empower, engage, and mobilize Marylanders around issues affecting women and girls throughout the state. To register for this event, please visit montgomerycountymd.gov/CFW/. I wanted to note that this week is Marc Hansen's last week as our county attorney. Marc has served our county for over 37 years and has been our county attorney for the last 12. Being county attorney is a tough job, and I appreciate his hard work, experience, and constant availability. I want to wish him well in his retirement. Finally, last week, Montgomery County lost an incredible resident and historic figure, Brigadier General Charles McGee, at the age of 102. General McGee was one of the last surviving Tuskegee Airmen and served for 30 years in our military, completing 409 air combat missions across 3 wars. Our thoughts and sympathies are with General McGee's family, friends, and our military community. As we begin Black History Month next week, heroic individuals like General McGee, along with his fellow Tuskegee Airmen, and all of our Black military veterans who faced segregation, racism, and incredible obstacles after they came home from serving to protect our nation, need to be remembered, and we need to learn about who they are, what they did, and why it matters. Thank you again for tuning in, and I hope you have a good week.